Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on digital collaboration for PSUs and being contingency ready for with collaboration. It's by CMR and Logitech. I'm Anil Chopra, VP Research and Consulting at CMR, and your host for this webinar. Now, we have a number of interesting sessions and a panel discussion lined up on digital collaboration and how do you really use it to gear up for contingencies. But before we begin, so here are some housekeeping notes. For one, we'll be running polls throughout the webinar. And what's more, in each poll, there will be one lucky winner who will get an Amazon Echo Dot. So please do participate in the poll. It also helps us, get to understand what are some of your thoughts around the topic that we have for today. And two, please keep posting your, queries on chat, and we will take them up towards the end of today's webinar. So with that quick introduction, we're going to begin. Now, as we all know that in the past 1.5 years, PSUs have actually proven their resilience by maintaining business continuity despite all the hardships brought about by the pandemic. And given how PSUs have tried to balance between work from home and work from office, it's really unlikely that a return to the traditional go-to office model will happen. What we feel and what various studies also suggest is that the future workplace appears to be hybrid with digital presence at its core. And this will require more than traditional video conferencing and collaboration solutions, for the workforce to deliver their best work. And in order to prepare the modern workforce, I think it's important to understand how the workforce itself really feels about a hybrid work environment. And to really understand what employees want from their workforce, CMR actually conducted a quantitative survey after the second wave, where we reached out to about 300 employees at different levels to understand how the two waves have impacted them and how their expectations have really changed. And this one was done across 8 metros and tier 1 cities, and we reached out to professionals from different industries. So let me quickly share my screen and show you the presentation. So I think, here what we see is that, where we notice that employees are spending more days working from home than office. And, in fact, what we found was the average number of days that they spend working from home has actually gone up from 3 to 5 days a month. And employees now demand, in fact, they would prefer to have complete work from home and are willing to go to office just for a single day. So we are very interesting finding on, what employees really feel. And, productivity, security, slow decision-making, these were the key concerns after the first wave of COVID. But after the second wave, interestingly, the biggest issue was team management. And, this was probably because too many cases were happening at that time with greater severity, due to the new mutations of COVID. So probably team management had become a big challenge, in working from home. This is something we can all relate to. And I'm sure that all of us have suffered from the, noisy neighbor syndrome, or the, cooker's whistle going off just as an important meeting is about to start. Basically, background noise in video calls was, therefore the biggest challenge, followed by, the long hours spent in front of the laptop, and not to mention poor audio quality. So these were some of the key challenges in video calls. What we also found was that employees want better connectivity and equipment. And given all the issues that people face with meetings, employees probably want, this better connectivity as well as better headsets, to combat some of these challenges, that I discussed earlier in the earlier slide. A digital assistant is another very interesting outcome where people with someone, where people wish that someone was there to really capture all their meeting notes, because when you're in a video call, it becomes a little difficult to really capture the notes, unlike when you're in a physical meeting with a notepad and a pen. Here, it becomes very difficult to capture notes. So a digital assistant was very much something in demand. Now, you can expect a rise in the usage of video meeting apps because people are getting used to it. And, after working from home for so long, Employees really want to use more of this, and get greater flexibility in their working hours. So, and of course, when they go back to office, they will expect better sanitization from a health standpoint. Um, Now, what can really make an office environment really safer? Post second wave of COVID, we found that fewer employees showed trust on the safety measures, and this indicates that the fear of getting infected is way too high, and which is why probably one of the reasons why employees are really looking forward to completely working from home. And this is another interesting outcome we found, that obviously during the pandemic, since offices were all closed, all the new joinees and all who were joining in were not really going to office, but were joining from their home only. And they are actually, most of them we found, were happy with work from home setup that they have. They're content in that, and in fact they're happier and more motivated to working to do that, though they do tend to feel micromanaged at some times. That was one key challenge with the new employees. Now, this is another very interesting statistic that we found. Productivity seems to have decreased, from the first to the second wave, which is possibly because employees are not able to, get help quickly enough with their technical issues, and or for interacting with clients, etc. So therefore, I think there was a bit of a dip in the productivity when we moved from the first to the second wave. The point to note in this slide is that technology has become a part and parcel of every employee's life, and it has a direct impact on employee experience. And this is what we really find, that employees felt that tech connectivity has improved. They're able to spend more time with their spouse and children. They're able to learn more skills. Those are some of the things that they found was better. But yeah, at the same time, poor connectivity at times, not able to speak regularly to colleagues, maybe during coffee breaks and all that, or and this entire overlapping of the personal and professional life, they were not really something that gelled well with with the employees. So those are some of the findings that we found with the in the survey from our employees. And but now the question is, the question really is, how should really be keeping all these things in mind, how should we really be reshaping the future of work? And what are some of the digital innovations that can help prepare PSUs for similar contingencies in the future, and keeping all these employee expectations and concerns in mind. So we will actually discuss these points and more in the panel discussion, and there's a session that follows also by Logitech. We will have a discussion on that. But before we move to the panel discussion, let's run the first poll. And as I said earlier, we're running several polls today, so please do participate, because you just might be the lucky winner of an Alexa, Amazon, Echo Dot. So can we have the poll question, please? Tech team, can we please have the poll question? I think one of the many challenges of working remotely, that certain things do take some time. Okay. So the question is, how do you really rate your existing collaboration infrastructure with respect to hybrid working? Options are: we are in discussion stage, we are evaluating options, we are working on a better plan, we are almost perfect, and we have everything. Okay, so very interesting results. We are working on a better plan, which basically means that existing collaboration infrastructure for with respect to hybrid working, there are certain challenges with it. So obviously there is always scope for improvement, and therefore there are companies who are also evaluating more options, and there are some are in discussion stage, but there are some who said that they are almost perfect. So and very few who said that they have everything. So very interesting. I think there is scope for improvement in the collaboration infrastructure in most of the organizations, and I think it's good because we'll have a discussion around collaboration infrastructure, for this. Great. So now that the poll is done, we are now going to be doing a panel discussion, and I've already shared some interesting findings from the CMR study on how the future work space is really shaping up, and probably some of those points resonate with your organization as well. We will kind of share these views in our panel discussion today. So can we have our panelists on in the center of the screen, please? Thank you. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm pleased to introduce Mr. M. Bishoy, who is the GMIT at NTPC Limited. Please say hi so that people can know who.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you. We have Vivek Pathak, who's a senior DGMIT for Digital Transformation Group at BHEL Bhopal. Hi, Vivek, welcome. And we have Anand Lakshmanan, who is the head of video collaboration for India and Southeast Asia at Logitech.
Morning, everybody.
Welcome, and our panel discussion topic today is on digital collaboration to gear up for contingencies. And you saw that I've, in fact, Anand, you saw some of the interesting insights that came out from this. Maybe you want to just quickly start off, and what do you think of the poll result, and for collaboration being collaboration infrastructure for the collaboration?
Yeah, poll results are pretty interesting, Anil. And almost 65% of people are saying that they are either evaluating options or they're working on better plans. And this is a feedback that's coming after almost 18 months of all of us being locked up within four walls, which means that either we have been kind of waiting for this so-called pandemic to go away, or I don't know what else to think about actually, but I'm sure we all have realized that this is not going to go away. It's going to stay in some form or the other. So like many other natural factors that we can't have an influence on, this is one more. Maybe we need to learn a lesson out of this, and what we could do, of course, is make life easy for ourselves in investing in the right tools, so that even though the environment that we are operating in is not as comfortable as it would have been if we were all going to an office, we still can remain productive, because that's another very interesting statistic that came up in your initial presentation, Anil, that productivity has actually gone down in the second wave. Yeah, that's probably because, again, could be of similar factors, right? People were waiting to make those investments, and whatever they had was not useful as the challenges were increasing. So of course, I'm hoping that the conversation will eventually give us an opportunity to talk to the audience about what they can do. But very interesting, and thanks, Anil, to CMR and you for getting an interesting topic for all of us to contribute towards.
Thank you, Anand. Mr. Bishoy, let me ask you, this question. You've seen all the results and everything, but I think it will be good to hear from you in terms of, have the collaboration needs really, changed for different roles in a PSU? For instance, there'll be internal discussions between employees. That will be one kind of, collaboration, versus there will be an interaction between a customer and an employee. That could be another type of collaboration, or there could be the need to train employees. There are so many different needs for different roles in a PSU. How have these needs really changed?
Yeah, thank you. Let me just give a brief introduction of NTPC. I think all are knowing We are basically a power producer, the largest power producer of India, and we have around 45 plants located in different corners of India. Our head office is Delhi, and our regional offices are at different locations. So, and power comes as a essential commodity. You cannot do away with electricity. So it has to run 24 into 7, irrespective of the conditions, whatever it is. So that was the challenge in the pandemic. Just a brief introduction I will give. But much before the pandemic, we had taken a lot of initiatives for digitalization. When the government of India launched a Digital India campaign, from that day onwards, we are in the process of digitizing all our activities. For example, we had a paper files for approvals. I think it was a regular practice in most of government sector. I don't know about much about private. So first challenge was to do away with the files. It took us a lot of effort, almost 1.5 years. We struggled convincing the users, convince the middle level managers, and then you can do everything through digital signature or electronic signature. So before the pandemic struck, we are totally without paper files. So that helped us a lot in decision making during the pandemic. It was through by that time. Now I am coming to your question. Collaboration needs of different employees. Now exactly the collaboration needs for our workmen, for our middle level executives, senior level management, all are different. I will start with the training. Training really helped. Training, what earlier training used to be, everybody used to come to either regional learning center or to our central project management institute at Delhi to come for training. Now that was done away with, and all trainings were through on virtual mode. And interestingly, the participants increased. Where we used to have 40, 50 participants, now we could do the same training with 200, 250, 300 participants because it is a virtual mode. So that way it increased the number of trainings, the number of initiatives on virtual mode, events that increased. Now coming to the collaboration amongst the managers. Now lower level management, they have more of on approvals, working in SAP, that kind of thing. So little bit of on Teams meeting or virtual meetings, they are basically emails and working whatever instruction is given. But senior management, middle and senior management, lot of meetings, meeting is more rather than less on just working on computers, discussion, reviews, and all the things are more for middle and senior managers. So we use M365 during the pandemic, start of the pandemic from March 2020 till we are continuing it. So that solve our need for meetings. Of course, there are issues in Teams meetings or any virtual meeting, but we have given instructions like cross-talking, like background noise, other things. It was more initially, but when employees were trained properly and they were guided properly, how to start a meeting, what are the norms to be followed during the meeting. So that helped us a lot. Now almost meetings are also streamlined. So that's all from me.
Okay. Thanks. I think good insights. Good to hear. In fact, first step was to do the digitization of the files. So probably they can be accessible from anywhere. That is probably one thing. And of course, you mentioned that when it came to attending any meetings and all that, the numbers actually went up, probably because it became easier for them to really join remotely. Probably that was one of the reasons. But yes, of course, I think now we are in a hybrid world where people can come either to office or they can work remotely. Which is where I'll ask you, Vivek. We have seen that various studies that have been done by renowned agencies and all that suggest that most organizations now prefer a hybrid kind of an environment. Do you also feel that the hybrid workplace is really here to stay? And if yes, what are some of the challenges that could possibly limit workforce productivity in such an environment?
What I think is that the hybrid work environment is, I believe, is here to stay. PSUs have been, I think, late in jumping into this bandwagon, and still I believe there is a resistance to the hybrid model working. But there are a lot of benefits because of which the hybrid model would stay. For example, the freedom to work, the flexibility to work anytime, from anywhere, from any device, and the work and life balance would be better. And I believe the employee satisfaction has also increased if you go for the hybrid model of working. And lastly, I feel that the mental health of the employees has also improved in this pandemic era. So these are some of the benefits wherein the remote model or the hybrid model would stay. But I think there are still many difficulties which have to be overcome for this model to persist permanently, at least in the various PSUs. Like if we talk about the physical security from where the employee is working, so the physical security comes of paramount importance, whether he has a personalized workspace or not to work in his house. Then the issues of the reliable network, even if you're connecting through the company VPN, whether the network is reliable or not. Then the third would come regarding the connectivity issues, whether you have the proper bandwidth or not. So the last mile connectivity is also an issue. Then I believe one very important factor for the PSUs to consider is the tax and labor laws also, wherein the compliance issues will come into picture. For example, if I give you an example of DHL, we are 14 locations. So not necessarily that the employee would work from that location, from his house or remotely. He may go to, say, some hill station or to some other state or to his hometown and he can work from there. So therein, what labor laws would apply, that PSUs will have to consider, because labor laws of the headquarters would not apply in that context. The laws would be different. So this is actually a compliance issue which the policymakers in the HR department of the PSUs should think over. Then there are other issues of loneliness, the employee feeling lonely, he's getting demotivated working the full time from the remote location. So therein the HR will have to chip up with providing encouragement and motivation. Then there are issues of face-to-face working, because in certain projects, you need to have face-to-face working with the employees. Like if you for the project meetings, kickoff meetings, then for creative thinkings, for brainstormings, herein remote working would not help. Then there is an issue that the employees do not get the complete information when they are working from remote places. The information which is required for working would be lacking. So as I mentioned, there are both the pros and cons of this hybrid working, and some of the issues which I have raised, particularly with respect to compliance and policies, those the companies will have to think over if this hybrid model would needs to be there in place permanently.
Good. I think, very, very good points, especially, on the policy and the fact that people are working from so many different places. So, how do you ensure that, all the policies and all apply there? And of course, all the connectivity issues and all that. So that really makes sense. And of course, the point about not being able to have all the information, access to all the information becomes really important. Anand, you heard, I think, what Mr. Bishoy also pointed out and what Vivek has said. Would you like to add, anything to what they have said? And of course, what are some of the changes that you feel are required? Because some of the challenges Vivek has also mentioned, but what changes are really required to the IT setup and, and policies for successfully, getting up PSUs for, this kind of a hybrid work environment? Maybe to monitor successful adoption of new technologies, whether they're working properly, or to understand, what some of the challenges employees face, irrespective of where they're working from, as Vivek pointed out. What are your views?
Yeah, thanks for asking that, Anil, and the opportunity to contribute towards this. Actually, I don't want to add to the challenges that Mr. Bishoy and Vivek spoke about, because what people are looking forward to are there solutions available? Yes, everybody has their respective challenges that they're going through, whether they are working for a PSU or a private sector organization. But what people are more interested in knowing are, like I said, solutions. So let me focus on that part of the discussion, right? As a very key player in the industry, let me assure everybody on this, forum that there are solutions available. That's the starting point I want to take this discussion from. Right. So let me take a couple of examples. I think it was Mr. Vivek who spoke about when he was talking about the advantages of this hybrid working. I think one of the points he made was the flexibility to work from anywhere at any time. Right. Yeah, very important. When we were all working from offices, when we were wanting to do video conferences, we would clearly remember we used to go into this so-called video conference room, and then there is this massive video collaboration unit in front of us. And more than the unit, we were scared of that remote control, which had those 1,000 buttons. Instead of logging into a meeting, most of us would have disconnected an existing meeting that was going on. So the reason I'm quoting this is things were really complicated at one point of time. But the good thing is it has become simple. Anil, you asked a question, I think, to Mr. Vivek again, whether he feels that hybrid is going to be there for somewhat time or it's going to go away. I think all of us know the answer. It's not going to go away anytime soon, at least in the foreseeable future. It's not going to go away, which means we better adapt ourselves to how to work in this hybrid world, right? Now, the good thing is a lot of people are doing their respective, they're bringing their respective solutions, and so is Logitech and companies like us. So what we are focused on is making technology simple, given the fact that it is not going to go away and people will be forced to use. How to make it so simple that people don't have to struggle with it. So for example, webcams. Once upon a time, webcams, when you buy from the store or later maybe online, you still have to download a software and then configure it and test the video and all of that. Today, technology has got advanced so much that you don't have to do anything. You just connect the cable to it, like microseconds, it's ready for you to use for your meeting, right? So technology has become better. At the same time, it has become simple. So that's the first point I wanted to drive. Again, there was a very important point somebody mentioned, I didn't make a note of the name, that people, in this whole concept of working from anywhere, anytime, remote, hybrid, etc. Last 18 months, none of us have seen our colleagues, shaken hands with them, complimented each other face to face. So for some of us, maybe it gave that feeling of being lonely despite working for large corporations, right? So how do you overcome that? Yeah, nothing beats meeting people in person and providing that reassurance that people need, that you are part of the team and you have support available. So whenever you need, please do reach out to us. Nothing beats that. But till such time that we can go back to the world that we all were in until, let's say, 2019. Okay, let's make best use of what is available to us at our disposal. So we believe that experience, makes a lot of difference. When we talk about a meeting, being able to see the other person clearly, being able to hear the other person clearly has a lot of impact on how you feel part of the meeting, right? Whether you feel included or you feel that you are a third person to the meeting. It all depends on how is your overall collaboration experience as far as that meeting is concerned? And there again, people are doing a lot of things. They've already done a lot of things to make it very easy, effective, and convenient for people. There are cameras today that produce 4K video, which means that you almost appear like how you would on a TV, right? So very good video quality. That is actually very, very critical. I don't know how many people lay importance to this, but it is very important. Second is meetings are all about being able to understand what somebody else is saying, each other, and communicate, right? So audio, very, very important again. If the audio and video are taken care of, our opinion is, Anil, about 90% of your challenges are taken care of. And then the good audio and the good video will have its own rippling effect on so many other factors that people otherwise consider as challenges. So net, in summary, what I want to tell you all is that technology is becoming better. At the same time, it's becoming easy to use and simple to deploy. So don't worry about it. There are people around to take care of these things.
Thank you, Anand. I think, some very valid points from your side. I think I referred to some of the audio quality and connectivity issues, in that came out in the survey as well. And you have kind of put it up as one thing, that it's the overall employee experience that really, really matters, and which is where all these things really come into the picture. That's the best way to kind of make meetings and collaboration really, really productive in the workplace, no matter where they're dialing from. It's the experience that really, really matters. With that, I'd like to welcome Mr. C.K. Prasad, who's the Executive Director for Southern Region at RailTel Corporation. Welcome, Mr. Prasad.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, we were in fact, Mr. Prasad, just discussing, some of the challenges that we have in a, hybrid work environment and remote connectivity, and we found that, I think you had some issues also joining and all that. So, technical issues have become an part and parcel of our hybrid workplace now. And this is was one example, but I'm so glad that you could finally were able to resolve all technical issues and join us. So I'm just going to ask you one question to start off with. See, we're talking about digital collaboration to gear up for contingencies, and after going through 1.5 years of the pandemic, it's been now more than 1.5 years. Employees in most organizations now have become quite comfortable working remotely. What are your reviews in terms of how their needs have really evolved over this period?
Yeah, the pandemic has definitely changed the way of working and collaborating with the colleagues. We saw during the lockdown there was a huge surge in demand for video conferencing requirement, and we had basically telepresence as a service offering, which was mostly limited to the boardroom conferences and the codecs, hardware codecs. But when people have to work remotely, and that too from different locations and also from home, the challenge was how to basically bring them on this WebRTC platform, using the browser basically. So WebRTC, we enabled this within 48 hours for our employees, and we saw that within a span of 6 months, if I give you the data rough estimate, we had close to 80 lakh people minutes of online meetings and conferences during that period. That is till June, July, the lockdown was there. And it has become a way now. Because, if you go and meet somebody in the office, like from the government, since we are from the government, the mandate is that we have to work from office. So if you go to and meet somebody, you'll say that you'll see, it will be telling here, I have another 5 minutes and I have another video conference. So earlier days, people used to discuss, meet, but today, if you go and meet them, I'm talking about government to government offices, different. They will always tell you, okay, within half an hour, I've got a video conference meeting, or within next 10 minutes, I've got a VC meeting. So it has become part and parcel of their work day. So other aspect was basically to enable people to securely access their applications and remain productive. and that was enabled for the cloud platform, and we could do micro segmentation, give them only access to the applications which they require through zero trust framework, and through giving them basically a more application centric access authorization. So that was the second part of it. Obviously, collaboration, people want to use different devices. For example, they want to use iPad, they want to use maybe Linux machine, or Apple machine, or basically a Windows machine, or their mobile phones. So collaboration through all these things should give almost similar experience, which I think we are getting it slowly to that level. And day by day, we are seeing that there's an enhancement in the functionality provided by the various cloud service providers who are working on video collaboration platforms. And the third thing is on integration, whether you can integrate a WebEx call with a Zoom call, or a WebEx call with Teams call, because that organizations work on different platforms. So then you require connectors and you require adapters to be connected. So only thing, the challenge comes the layout part. So people support different layouts, they have their own way of working. So, but again, like we connect various organizations. For example, we connect various countries. For example, like Singapore Chamber of Commerce is there, or Indo-American Chamber is there, and Railway Ministry should be connected. Or since the Minister is also looking after IT and telecom and railways, so he will basically be attending events from Sanchar Bhavan or Rail Bhavan, and we have to ensure that he gets connected across various platforms. So that is the thing. So, but within the organization, I think there is a certain maturity, the quality where collaborations become quite productive.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. I think really good insights. Video has become a way of life. People have become comfortable with it. So 80 lakh video meetings, you said, in just 2 months. That is the kind of thing. Wow.
Yes, yes.
That's a huge number. That itself shows how people have become comfortable with technology. And, good points about being able to have in-platform integration. And, that is something that one would expect. Which actually brings me to the question to Mr. Bishoy, which, I've been meaning to ask him. What would be now, your expectations from technology for enabling, a digital workplace that could actually maximize the employee potential? I think we heard some points from Anand and Mr. Prasad, but I'd really like to know your views around the expectations from technology.
Yeah, I think Vivek has mentioned a lot of issues. But technology perspective, I think all the companies should ensure that the employees are having the proper gadgets at their residence if they have to work from home. What we found out in the last pandemic and other things, although our organization was paying money for procuring, employees were not following that. Either they are, suppose laptop, they will give the laptop to their kids or to their sons and daughters. Latest was not with them. So that was a challenge. Yes, now they have understood. So henceforth the employees should ensure themselves they are having proper gadgets. Smartphone, yeah, whether it is tab or it is laptop. That is number one. Number two, that they must have a proper connectivity at their residence. So there are challenges in few areas where signals are less and other things, either landline or anything, they have to acquire that. And also the telecom companies should ensure that 4G is extended or 5G is coming, and that is extended to all the parts of India. That is number. And number three is that the company must all the processes should be re-engineered so that it enables them to work from home. If anything is there, it should map in a paperless manner. All the processes should be completed. For example, I will give you, when the pandemic struck, although our tender activities and other things, everything was paperless, the payment portion was not paperless. Vendors were supposed to submit the invoices in a manual form, and then it is to be processed. So during the initial 2-3 months, we had to find out solutions, and we made it paperless. So such things are required. Then what Vivek was telling, labor loss, that is no, it is not technology part. Then it is work-life balance. Actually, today the bosses are expecting an employee to respond at 10 o'clock in the night, sometimes 11 p.m. And anywhere they feel they will call and he has to respond. So that kind of attitude should not be there. Employees should get also some rest and other things. So, but as Vivek was telling, we are also in a PSU. So presently we are working from office. So that kind of issues not there. But still on holidays and other things, we are supposed to respond to management whenever they call, and we have to clear the files. If it is lying with us, we get a call regularly on that. So that's from me.
Good. I think very, very good, very well points you've raised, especially around the work-life balance. I think since we have all become so comfortable using all these video calls and remote collaboration, many times I think, these 11 p.m. calls or calls over the weekend have kind of been, become a part of life, and, that work-life balance needs to be maintained. So very well said. And in addition to, of course, having the right devices for the employees so that they can have the right connectivity and all that stuff. So good points. Vivek, I think, as you heard what Mr. Bishoy also said, and about all these points, but I think one thing that's, one I would really like to ask you is, how have, the interactions really changed now, as compared to how they happened earlier? Earlier you could just walk up to a colleague in the office and, or have a cup of tea, or, a tea break or a smoke break, and have various discussions. But now that is not possible unless and until you are in office. So how do you think have the interactions really changed as compared to the past?
As Mr. Bishoy was telling, as when the lockdown set in, all our file movements stopped all of a sudden because we were totally on physical files. So the complete work came to a standstill in BHEL because there was no physical interaction between employees. So immediately, as and when the first lockdown set in, we had to launch e-office or electronic office. And I itself took, I think, around 10 trainings for more than 2,000 employees. And then the e-office came into picture, and then the electronic files movement started. So the primary means of communication itself started, I think, with the e-office coming to picture. So employees started then sending files using this software. And coming to meetings point of view, we are regularly having meetings on Zoom or on WebEx, wherein employees who are remotely working and employees who are at the office, they interact through these video conferencing solutions. But one thing what I feel is that in the PSUs, the interaction with the customers, which used to be, all the prospective customers, which used to be face-to-face, that actually started lacking because PSUs were not paying that much attention to the social platforms, may it be Facebook or may it be LinkedIn, that was morely used as a PR opportunity, wherein I think one of the CSR initiatives may be uploaded in the LinkedIn page of the company. But now if I talk of my company, BHEL, we have started using all these social media platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, Instagram as a marketing channel itself, wherein we keep on uploading videos of our products, services. We have industry experts who come and gauge our products. They give their own views and opinions about the products. So this is one of the very cultural change in the PSUs, wherein we have started using these social media platforms as a marketing channel to showcase the products. And this has just come up recently after the pandemic. Then if I talk to regarding the interactions with the existing customers, we have started using augmented reality to show the customers our shop floor sites, or the testing, their testing equipments or the test facilities. We are showing it through augmented reality, where the customer itself through augmented reality can work on the equipments and see whether the testing of their equipments has been done correctly by the company or not. So in this manner, we have started using the latest technologies, whether it's video conferencing or AI or AR, and even the latest, we have started using the social media platforms as a important marketing channel.
Good. I think, good points in terms of how interactions have changed. You've become more comfortable with social media and being able to use that augmented reality, and of course, e-movement of files and all that has really, really helped. So I think good how we are seeing the transition of movement of various interactions between different people for different, kinds of purposes and all that. So thank you for that. Mr. Prasad, are you there, Mr. Prasad? Could you just switch on your camera, please? Yeah, thanks. So let me ask you about, while these were things about movement of files or technology in terms of social media and all that, but, when you look at hybrid meetings where, some part of the team is physically sitting in a meeting room and part is really connected remotely, a hybrid meeting basically. In such a mixed mode meeting, people connected remotely can't really fully understand what's really happening in the meeting and therefore can't really make any meaningful contributions. Is it possible to give them all the same experience so that they're, all equals? I mean, how are you managing hybrid meetings?
Yeah, for example, the codecs, which are basically are in the board or conference halls, there'll be around 30 conference, and people from other conference rooms will be joining. So it is all on a presence definition experience.
Mr. Prasad, we're not able to hear you. Your audio and video.
Through camera, yeah.
So maybe just switch off your video and then talk. Maybe the audio will become better. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, again, you're not audible. I think he'll log in again. But Anand, I think I could probably ask you on your thoughts around a similar question. And, you've heard a lot of these things. But I know that, you have some answers from a technology standpoint around hybrid meetings and some of the challenges that were suggested by, the other panelists. So why don't you just give us some of your viewpoints?
Actually, very interesting and valid point, Anil. I was actually hoping that you asked me the same question because I wanted to really contribute towards that. Yes, we all are going to face this practical challenge once we go back to offices in whatever percentages our respective organizations allow us to come in on a weekly basis, right? It is going to be a little challenging for organizations to provide a equal experience, especially for the remote participants, because, I mean, let's face it, we all know when you sit across the table, the experience is something, but when you see the same person on video and you are trying to communicate the same point virtually, the experience is completely different. But again, as a player in the industry, I want to assure the forum that there are technologies coming. There are technologies that are already available. There are technologies that are coming that are going to make it even better. that will ensure that the experience is not all that compromised that it is today, right? For example, let's visualize a situation, let's say 3 months, 4 months from now, when there is a 10-member meeting that's happening, and 5 of us are sitting in the meeting room in the office, and we are doing this brainstorming session that Mr. Prasad was talking about just before he got disconnected. And then there are 5 other colleagues of ours who are logging in from their respective houses or other places. It is by using existing technologies, it is still possible to provide people a good video and an audio experience because cameras are good, broadband, thanks to the telecom players. We have fiber in most places, in the country, affordable as well. So these will take care of the audio and the video. But there is this very important part of every meeting, which today has become digital. But I'm assuming that people are still comfortable with the physical part of it, which is really the whiteboard. No meeting till 2019 happened without anything being written on a whiteboard, right? That's the meeting format that we are all used to. How about people logging in remotely? How would they be able to see what's written on the whiteboard? This is going to be a challenge for people when they go back to offices. And while we wait for the other players in the industry to bring about solutions, if customers are looking at Logitech today, there is a ready solution that's available. And we brought in something that ensures that people don't have to kind of make too many changes to their infrastructure. You can keep everything that you want. You just put this as an add-on solution on top of your whiteboard. It will provide the view of the whiteboard to all the participants in the meeting, right? So this was a real life challenge that people had and would have, and this solution is going to fix that. So like this, Anil, there are a lot of other solutions. So what would happen in a full-fledged hybrid setup is also that we all know people will probably work 2-3 days from office and maybe the balance time from home, which means they got to keep getting adjusted to 2 different, infrastructure, right? At home, if somebody is like me living in Bombay, where every square foot of inch is so expensive, you may not have the luxury of a large room dedicated for yourself because your kid is studying, doing online classes from the other room. If your wife is working, she is on another laptop, maybe sitting in the living room. So whatever is left outside of these becomes your office, right? So which means the experience that you get, whether you're working from home or you're working from office, as much as possible, if this is seamless and if it is the same, it's so good, right? The productivity just increases because you don't have to get adjusted to too many different things. So that's what we are also focusing on. So if you look at most of our products, they have a, whether you call it user interface or control panel, whatever it is, right? Right from the look and feel, the video quality to the audio experience, the noise suppression, you get almost the same experience irrespective of where you are working from, whether you use a webcam or you use one of those sophisticated room solutions in a boardroom in your office. So technology has progressed. We have also made sure the products keep pace with the technology, adopts those technologies. While this is one part, the other part is especially for a PSU vertical, like Vivek and Mr. Bishoy and Mr. Prasad belong to. What is important is adoption. You can provide the best of technologies to people. I heard one of them say, we even have a policy where we allow people to buy good equipment, but they don't, right? It is a question of helping people adopt, right? Let's take a good example. Let's look at the online classes that our children are going through. I'm sure most of us have kids whose teachers did not have the necessary skills to conduct online classes before the pandemic hit. One fine day, they were all told, you'll have to teach the same class, but on a computer. It was so difficult for them, right? And unfortunately, that was the time of the pandemic that nobody could meet and train them as well. And because it was a computer-based training, nobody could teach them as well, right? Because they first have to get connected. So we are solving all of these problems as well. So adoption, when we come to talk about adoption, one thing is keep the technology simple so that the adoption by itself can be higher. If the technology is not as simple as, let's say, a WhatsApp where none of us got trained and we all are using it today, right? Make it as much easy as possible, so that with a little bit of training, people can master the usage of it. And we are focusing on both of these areas, right? So good technology and the ability to adopt it, I think together will make sure that every organization will succeed in its collaboration initiatives.
Right. Thank you, Anand. I think, really great point of view from you on some of the solutions that technology has for resolving hybrid meetings. We are running out of time, so I'm going to quickly ask Mr. Prasad, since you logged off, you got disconnected. So maybe if you just want to quickly add, then we can just wrap up the panel discussion and quickly move to the last session.
Yeah. So the question which you asked on this hybrid working. So as I told, the conference rooms have high definition telepresence solutions, and these are on MPLS 4 Mbps dedicated channels. So the quality is phenomenal because the bandwidth is dedicated. The codecs are high resolution codecs, and basically they support different type of compression ratios and things like that. It's a very adaptable type of system. So even if there is some, let us say, disturbance in network, it is able to tolerate that type of disturbances. Coming to the remote location where people logging from the desktop, the experience will be slightly lesser. But then since most of these platforms are supporting whiteboarding, they're supporting the presentation mode is always there. Plus you can also annotate. You have a virtual pen and you can do some something to write or something to work on that. Definitely, I remember for classrooms and all, we were using document cameras. So you have documents of different sizes. For example, A0 size, A1 size. You have, let us say, it is a learning, it's a training institute. In the railways, we have training institutes. And you have basically A0 size, A1 size, A2 size, different size of drawing, B1 size, not a A4 size. So you want to basically show them the circuit or how the gradient or the engineering plan is there. So the document cameras, they help in those scenarios. So it's all combination of these things, but the main thing is how you integrate them well and see that they work seamlessly. That is important. And what we do, we usually earlier when we had this telepresence service around 3 years back, so we used to have a person who used to set up the things. But slowly we have seen that we have been able to simplify the things, and people can connect on their own. Users can themselves make a call and manage their entire thing. Otherwise, keeping another person for that meeting, it was always a challenge, because then the person is not available on that day. Then from the boardroom is difficult to connect. So those things have been taken care of by automation. By also we have our telepresence NOC, Network Operating Center. So where we manage the entire, because this is all locations are pan-India diverse organizations, they connect to those systems. And so the technology has to provide for all those type of variability, the diversity. And managing that, seeing in the network side what's happening. For example, when we started this WebRTC, we found that people have different internet speeds, or they have different operators. Some are from cable T operators, they're taking internet services. Some are from the telcos, some have taken a Wi-Fi connection. And so we came out with basically a recommendation that when you're using a Wi-Fi, your quality will be less. So either you keep your laptop or the device closer to the Wi-Fi router, or have a wired connection. First thing. Second thing was to use a proper DNS, because DNS also plays an important role. So like that, we had around 10 items in that list, which we have circulated to all the users when they are basically logging from the homes. So to a certain extent, it has improved. Definitely for some of the people who have lower bandwidth, they have to basically upgrade their bandwidth from their service point when they're working from home. So all these combinations has enhanced the experience, overall experience for the people.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. I think really great points from your side in terms of managing hybrid meetings. You refer to document cameras, and Anand also referred to whiteboard cameras. So some really good developments that we're seeing in technology, and how that's actually, I think more important is how do you really integrate them all together. And very valid point from your side. We are running a little behind schedule, so we're going to end the panel discussion now. But yeah, so I'd like to thank all of you for sharing your perspectives. I think it's been really great. They were truly insightful. I'm sure the audience found them very, very interesting. So we do have one more session. So I'll thank you, all gentlemen, and then we'll move to the next part. So thank you. And, and then we'll have the Q&A. So I will request you to stay on till the end so that in case there is any questions from the attendees, we can just take them. Now, before I invite the next speaker on stage, we'll run a second poll. And as I mentioned earlier, please participate and you could be the lucky winner of an Amazon Alexa Echo Dot. So can we have the poll question, please? So the poll question is, which of the following features are the most important in your collaboration solution? Is it price? Is it Ultra HD video quality? Is it plug and play? Is it easy to manage? Global availability, reputed brands, certified by all major cloud collaboration platforms, or all of the above? And you can select multiple options. And once the questions have been submitted, I will request the tech team to display the results. Can we have the results, please? Great. So interesting. I think all-in-one device, which has camera plus speaker plus mic, seems to be something that is really, really desirable and most important in a collaboration solution. Followed by it should be plug and play, and it should be certified by all major cloud collaboration platforms. Very, very critical, I think. So thank you for that, for sharing your views. With that, I would like to hand it over to Ritesh Pangasa, who is the head pre-sales for India and Southwest Asia at Logitech. Ritesh, I would like to to take a deliver your presentation, and probably as we are short of time, would request you to keep it concise. Yeah. Thank you. And over to you, Ritesh.
Surely. Thanks, Anil. Thanks. And I have listened to all the panelists. It was great inputs even regarding from the challenges they have faced on the IT perspective, and even not on the IT, even which is not in the IT hands. For example, if some employees working from home and he do not have a bandwidth, what all suggestion IT can give him. So just like Anil, you were giving a suggestion like your audio is not clear, you can mute your video, which will increase your upload bandwidth and people can get a good bandwidth over there and your quality get improved. Thanks for that. And let me start quickly. I have very limited time, so I will very fast on my slide deck, and because I just want to prefer to showcase you more on my practical scenarios. Oh, sorry. Let me switch it to the presentation. Here it goes. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I will be very quick on my slides. So if you have any question, I will love to answer it in a Q&A session. So we, as a Logitech, started in 1998 with a webcam, which is black and white webcam. At that time, there was no colored webcams. And then we moved to a full-fledged conferencing solution right from your desk, that is working from home, going to the office on the desk, then going to a huddle room, then going to a conference room. And finally, if you are on a move, you are traveling somewhere, then also we have a solution which can help you out. So when it comes to the Logitech, we say that Logitech is the answer to all your needs. Why we say is because we have a solution right onto your desk, huddle room, mid-size room, large room, and boardroom. As one of the panelists, I have seen that they were facing some challenge where employee is in the home, he have a desktop. When employees come to the desk or into the conference room, their experience is different. So what we in Logitech is concentrating is give you a single user experience, a consistent experience wherever you go, whether you are in a conference room, whether you are in a home, whether you are traveling somewhere, you should have a consistent experience to join into that call. And I will just want to say that something like, if I ask you the guys a question like, which is your most comfortable device in today's world, is your mobile phone. And the second most comfortable device is your laptop. So wherever you go, you carry it, and if you have to join a call from there, you will be most comfortable. And what if Logitech allow you to use your same gadgets into the conference room, into your home, wherever you are? So that is where we are focusing on. And I will show you the market analysis and then our product portfolio very quickly. So market shows that Logitech is number one in number of units we have sold. That is, we clearly differentiate us in the percentage of number of units we have sold in the market with 49% of share. And second is revenue wise, we are already number one, again leading ahead of Cisco and Poly. Although our market share is 49%, but still our revenue is less. The reason is our equipments are very affordable and it get into the pocket of each and every customer, whether it's a government or a PSUs. And when it comes to the growing market, the way the market is growing onto the video conferencing, I will say not the video conferencing, but a collaborative experience. Because earlier we used to say that it is a video conferencing, but it is not now a video conferencing because it's more of collaboration. It is just not you and me talking on a video call, but if I have to chat with you, if I have to send you some document, if there is a pool questions, just now like Anil has put up a pool question, all that is a collaborative now. It's not just the video conferencing we should talk about. Next is OEM partner ecosystem. So Logitech is having the equipments which are open to everybody. Open to everybody means whichever OEM application you are using, whether it's a WebEx, whether it's a Microsoft, Zoom, Google, BlueJeans, Logitech devices is made to work with each and every platform. They are tested and certified by each and every platform. Even if it is a PC ecosystem, you have HP, Lenovo, or Dell or IBM, whichever laptop you are using, or AV design in the boardroom, whichever AV design existing you are having, Logitech will be able to collaborate with that. So let us talk about the portfolio. We have personal solution and team solutions. So this is the personal devices, which are USB based devices where you require an external computer, your PC or something like that, which can run the VC application. So these are just plug-in device, plug and play device, just a single USB going into your laptop for camera, speaker and microphones. So right from the BCC 950 to Connect to Meetup, which is 8 to 10 participants. Then we have a group which is 1080p, and we have a higher range of products which are meant for 40 to 50 seaters, which have AI inbuilt, like auto framing. The number of participants in the conference room, it will automatically frame them into the meeting. And then we have a complete bundle portfolio, that is end-to-end solution provided by Logitech. This is a complete bundle where a compute, a touch device, you enter into a meeting, you have a touch device, you touch on that and the conference started. And even nowadays, I will say you need not to touch also. You can join the meeting with the help of a voice command. All our devices are certified to work with the VC application which support voice command. And the future is facial recognition, where you enter into the room, it recognizes your face and you ask the computer, okay, start my meeting, and the meeting gets started. So this is the future of video conferencing, which our devices are already supporting it. So next is the appliance portfolio, where we have a variety of applications preloaded into these appliances. So whether you are using Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Paxip, GoToMeeting, Ring Center, or you want to bring your own device, the laptop into the conference room, all is compatible. So these devices are preloaded with one application, all these 5 applications. So suppose you have first meeting with Zoom, second meeting is on Microsoft Teams, you can switch from Zoom to Microsoft Teams natively within the same appliance mode. And even it has a secondary camera, give you all analytics of your room, like how many meetings happen online, how many meetings happen offline. So it is a consistent experience for each and every conference room you are having. And definitely you have a touchpad where you just click or you just give a voice command and the meeting gets started. So again, these appliance portfolio is Rally Bar Mini, Rally Bar and Rally Kit Plus along with the roommate, which is for the very, very large rooms. Let me move further. So finally, we have 3 kind of solutions which can be merged together. One is USB, where you bring in your own device for full BYOD concept, room systems, and finally the appliance. Room system is where you have a Windows-based PC or any PC which you have your own choice, or finally the appliance base, which is having the preloaded applications. So coming to the personal solutions, we have variety of webcams, right from the 4K, the Brio webcam. We have Logi Dock, which is a recently launched product, which is just not a docking station. It has much more than that. For example, you have one touch to join. That is the experience which you get in the conference room, one touch to join to a meeting. Same experience you can get in your personal room also, or in your personal office space also. That is, you have this device on your desk. If the call is there, you have to just touch it over there and the meeting will start automatically. Same way, we have variety of headsets, and we recently have launched Zone True wireless earbuds, which are certified to work with Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and other leading UC/VC applications. So they are not the ordinary one which you get in the market. They are specified, designed for the enterprise grade. Sorry. Okay, so this is the Logitech which I was talking about just now. It have all the facility of docking station, personal meeting controls, speaker phone if you want to listen to the music, and finally this is a connectivity diagram. So you have number of other ports. You can want to connect dual monitors, or you want to pair your Bluetooth mobile phone for listening music. All that is available in the Logitech. This is Rally Bar Mini, which I just talked about. It's a 4K camera, 4x zoom, 120-degree field of view, which is specially meant for the small and the huddle rooms. And then Rally Bar, which is for the medium room, 15x zoom, 90-degree field of view, auto framing is available. Automatically the number of persons can be framed. And the best thing with our microphone is you can mount them on a table, and if you want to mount them on a ceiling, both the options are available with you. And we have a roommate, which is a separate compute device. If you, for example, just now we were discussing with Vivek, he was saying, and you are using already a Logitech devices. So if you want to have external compute, Vivek, you can add this roommate, or anybody can having any third-party components also, third-party devices also. Still, this roommate can be integrated with that. And finally, this is the one thing which I want to take a 10-15 second on this slide. All of us know that BYOD concept. That is, you bring your laptop and start a meeting call. So there are two kind of BYOD available in the market. One is full BYOD, another is a partial BYOD. In partial BYOD, you bring your laptop to a conference room, you attach a USB cable, you attach a HDMI cable, then you power on your laptop, and then you change a source of the TV. And then if there is an existing device within the conference room, you cannot switch from there. So that is where the Logitech have a solution called as Logitech Switch. This is a single Y-shaped cable lying on your table. You plug in the cable, your existing system will bypass if it is there. If not, then you just bring in your laptop, plug in one cable, your camera, speaker, mic, display, your charging of the laptop, everything is done. Very, very simple, and give a peace of mind to especially the IT administrator. You need not to guide the user, like you need not to train the user how to use these things in the conference room. Because when user enter into a conference room, there is only a single cable lying on the table. He has no other choice to connect that except that connecting that cable to his laptop. And the moment he connect, everything is ready to go. And finally, a Logitech Subscribe, which is a which Anand also talked about. If you have a whiteboard in your conference room, definitely we all are having that whiteboard. Either it's a glass whiteboard or a normal whiteboard, which I am also having behind me. You can use this Logitech Subscribe to capture this whiteboard. And this is a difference between the normal camera capturing a whiteboard and a Subscribe. So if you see this camera, the Subscribe, it goes to the participants standing in front of a whiteboard. It enhances the content. I will just show you practically also in next couple of seconds. Then we have a Logitech Tab Scheduler, which we recently launched. So what is this scheduler is? Basically, it integrates with your Microsoft Teams or a Zoom license or WebEx license. That is, it's a small display which goes outside your conference room, and it will let you know whether this conference room is available or not available, or even if on the fly you want to book this conference room, you can do it. And overall portfolio, if you ask me, of the scheduling and booking, Logitech provide you a complete application which allow you even to book your parking lot also, even to book your personal office space. That is hot desking, we call it nowadays, and even the conference rooms also. So complete booking solution is there. So like in the hybrid mode, you will be reducing the space in the offices, might be. So then if the employee is coming to the office, he is worried whether he will get a parking, whether he will get a desk, whether he get a conference or not. So all that is available with Logitech. We can provide you a software which allow you to book all right from the parking to the hot desk to the finally to the conference room. And finally, this is especially for the IT guys. For example, I have seen Bishoy especially talking about the challenges, how to monitor the users, how to guide the users. So this is one of the applications where you have Logitech Sync for you, which is free of cost. You can install this client onto all your conference room, even to your laptop or the personal user. If you see the first photograph, Sync client. So once this is connected, you have a dashboard in front of you. How many Logitech devices are currently working properly? How many rooms are healthy? How many rooms are having issues? How many times that this room was used? All insights will be available. Much more than that. So due to time, I cannot explain each and everything. So that's all. End my session. So I will quickly stop the presentation, and I want to take another 30 seconds to show you guys how Logitech Subscribe actually can add value to your conference room. So right away, if you see the whiteboard behind me, this is the normal whiteboard. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this whiteboard with the help of a camera which is capturing it. This is the normal scenario which guys everybody is doing nowadays. Okay, he's trying to capture this whiteboard by putting a camera on a tripod, and if I stand in front of me this, you can see my hand. Now I'm going to showcase you same whiteboard with the help of Logitech Subscribe. Here you go. So this is the seamless experience of a whiteboard which you can see. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in front of it. Okay, so please excuse my handwriting. So this is what I have written on a whiteboard, and you will not be able to see my hand over there. It is totally ghost effect. So this is the video conferencing, like Anand and a lot of the panelists have said, this is all about the experience, all about the experience. So same whiteboard, everything is similar, conditions are same, bandwidth is same, lighting is same, but the camera is different. So this is what the Logitech Subscribe is. And finally, I will just show you another very cool feature. I have with me is the tap IP scheduler basically. Okay, this is a scheduler which will go outside your room onto your desk. Also, we have a separate scheduler for the desk. And if you see, it shows that it's a green light on the side. It shows that the room is available. You can walk near to the room. If you don't have any device or something, you can type in the meeting name over here, whatever name you want to give. Okay, and just say reserve. Okay, it is reserving the meeting. It is sending the email to the participant. I can put an email address of the participant and the meeting invite for the Zoom or the Microsoft Teams. Everything will go to that particular participant. So it shows me now red that this conference room is available. So even a guy who is not IT sec, for especially the top management, if they want to go to book any conference room, they can just go near to the conference room on the panel. They can right away reserve the room and start the meeting. So that's end of my session in a very quick short view of all my products. And if you have any questions, I will love to answer it in a Q&A, or you can or the Anil's team can provide you the contact details of us, and we will happy to help you with all your questions. Thank you, everybody. Thanks. Over to you, Anil.
Thanks, Ritesh. I think great, some really useful demos, and I think some of the challenges that were talked about, you've really kind of talked about how technology can address those challenges, and some really good with those demos as well. So great. Now, before we do the Q&A, I mean, we're obviously running short of time, so we're going to do the third poll as promised. So we're going to run the quick poll now, and then we'll just quickly move on to see if there's one or two questions that we can take up. So can we have the poll question, please? So which of the following brands would you consider business grade video conferencing equipment? Is it Poly? Is it Logitech, Cisco, Jabra, Crestron, or others? You can select multiple options. And can we have the results? If the poll is done, please show the results. Great. So I think this will be a very happy insight for Logitech, because maximum people consider Logitech to be business grade video conferencing equipment, followed by Cisco and then Poly. So thank you for that and congratulations. And with that, we'll just quickly move to the Q&A. We are short of time, so we're going to take maybe one or two questions max. So can I please have all the panelists and the speaker in the center, please, so that we can quickly do the Q&A. Right. So I think, one question I've got was that, and we've seen this happening today also in the session, that even now in India, bandwidth is a challenge. So how can, video collaboration be accelerated even with low bandwidth? What are some of your thoughts? Anand, maybe you would like to answer that?
Yeah, so the good thing is, like we discussed during the meeting, technology has improved. It has become simple and it has extended to the video cameras also. I wish we had the time today. Most of our products can actually work on mobile data. So while, yes, it is a fact that broadband is available in most parts of the country than it was a few years back, and especially after the pandemic, if situation demands, most of our products will work on mobile data as well. So that's the quick answer I wanted to give.
Thank you. So a question for any of the panelists: why is video conferencing so important when audio conferencing can work just fine? Anybody want to take that up?
Yeah, I'll probably attempt an answer for that again. Audio only is not connect. If you are trying to communicate anything with anyone, which is you say something and you are expecting the other person to respond, and together you want to collaborate and execute on a common goal, either audio or video by themselves independently, I don't think will help achieve. Audio and video together is collaboration. Audio alone is probably just speaking, in our opinion.
Thank you. I think with that, we will wrap up today's session because it is already fairly late. I'd like to thank all of you for sharing your insights. And I'd like to thank all the attendees for staying on for such as, for the entire duration of the webinar. I think you've been a great audience, and I believe there are many questions that have still gone unanswered. What we will do is we'll try to, get those answers across to you later on over email because we've recorded all your questions. So thanks for that. But before you go, we'd request you to, fill up the feedback form. You'll get a link to it, and there's a link to it already in your chat box. So would appreciate if you could just click it and fill it up. Thank you once again for sparing your valuable time today. We hope you found it useful and got some great insights from all the sessions in the panel discussion. So thanks, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great day. Goodbye.